Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo, and I'm back with Scribblenauts Unlimited, the object editor commentaries, where I create your favorite characters in the Scribblenauts Unlimited object editor. That's just one feature of this game. It's not like the story mode or anything like that. But speaking of story mode, we are creating the characters from the Minecraft story mode video game that has recently released, semi-recently, as of the time of this recording and uploading. So, of course, I just create whatever is most popular or most requested by the most amount of different people. So, if you're requesting things down in the comment section, now you know how it works. Start off with a man. It doesn't matter which man it is. You can just create a man. You could almost use any human, sort of, for this creation. We're going to start off with Jesse. And we're using actually this cube shape on the head more so for a placeholder because I am going to create the head separate from the body. The reason that I do this on any creation is if the creation ever needs to have some more detail in it, that we can't fit enough stamp space in. Scribblenauts Unlimited uses these stamps, which are basically any piece that I'm adding, like for instance this letter I right here, or those rectangular prisms that we've had for Jesse's arms. Those are basically a stamp piece, and so there are a limited amount of stamp pieces that you get to use in this game. So unfortunately, we've had to create workarounds and things, so I'll basically just make the head and the body separate, because the head itself probably needs, just as many stamps as the body sometimes, for all of the details. But since Minecraft characters are so blocky and shape-oriented and everything, like just geometric shapes and stuff, polygonal and pixelated, well, most of these creations that we're going to be doing right now for today's creations are going to be these geometric shapes, and Scribblenauts Unlimited has a whole library of geometric shapes, and so that's what I'm making great use of. You can see all of these rectangular prisms. His suspenders are the letter I. We've also got pimples, not only for the little holes in the hand that indicate where his thumb might be and stuff like that, but also pimples are going to be for the little buttons right next to his suspenders. A minus sign is what I'm using right now, actually, for the pant, I guess the rolled up jeans and stuff. He's wearing blue jeans basically, but they are rolled up at the bottom and kind of go out just a little bit from the shoes. And now we're using the letter I once again for the stripes on his arms, just this pattern on his shirt. But anyway, we'll get right into the fun facts and stuff because I think this design for the body is mostly done. I like to read background information for anybody who is not familiar with whatever we're creating. So for today, Minecraft Story Mode, it's like a playable television show based on your favorite game, where you are the star and your choices and actions decide how the story is told. Or at least that sentence comes straight from TelltaleGames.com's website description of the Minecraft Story Mode game, obviously developed by Telltale Games in association with Mojang. The game is set within a game of Minecraft, and the player mostly takes control of the character named Jesse. For our purposes, I've created the male version of Jesse that appears on the promotional images for the game, but players get to decide whether Jesse is a boy or a girl, among a few other design features. If we quickly wanted a one-sentence summary of Minecraft Story Mode's Episode 1, recently released, it would be this: Jesse and his or her Minecraft friends must seek out the Order of the Stone after a corrupt wither monster ravages the annual EnderCon gathering. Anyway, there are a lot of other Minecraft humans that appear in the game, but we're really just going to be making the main 5, plus the addition of Reuben, Jesse's faithful pet pig. With so many things one could say about this game, I'll just default to what I have an expertise in with TV shows, movies, and games, and that would be the voice actors. I watched a few clips on YouTube for research since I do not own and have not played Minecraft Story Mode, but in viewing those clips, I immediately, of course, noticed Patton Oswalt voicing the male Jesse, and one of my favorites, Billy West, not only narrating the game, but making an incidental appearance or two, so I guess Billy West has some voice roles in it as well, which makes me extremely happy. And you can see that we started off with a head as the source object, put the cube shape over it, and now we've got all of these little shapes like the letter I for his mouth and the eyebrows. Then we have the minus sign for the nose and the rectangle shape for the whites of his eyes. And now we're getting squares. The problem here is that the square actually does not shrink down as small as I would like it to. But as we're moving on, I did just want to note that the hair right here, we of course have the hair on the top layer, but I'm going to be making all these little different stamps and stuff to sort of make the hair pop out a little more. It's going to be tough because it looks like, from this angle, if you sort of projected it out, it looks like we are looking sort of down on Jesse, the character right now, or whatever character we're going to be creating in the future of this episode. We're almost looking down on them, or we can see the top of their head, and then of course the side of their head, and the front of their head, and all that. So we have 3 different kind of planes here, 3D planes that we are looking at. And so you can see all the different shapes that I'm using. Of course, the letter I, a rhombus diamond shape, a rectangle shape, even a minus sign thrown in there for the front hairs. But also notice that I've done this sort of like waffly pattern, and I say waffle waffle because it sort of looks like a waffle, but like it has the little checkerboard almost to it, and it's not specifically the checkerboard pattern because there is a checkerboard pattern in your color pattern library patterns, but no, this one sort of has like a yellowish background, a yellowish brown background, and then we of course painted the brown over it to further emphasize that his hair is a brownish color. And so here we go. It looks like we have our Jesse completed. We'll go ahead and put him to the side because I'm definitely gonna need to make Jesse's friends and give him some friends here. So we'll start off with Jesse kind of for the source that we could use for most of our other creations and stuff. So I think we won't have to do, as much editing as we would if we had to do it straight from ground zero with no more, with no other basis, just back from square one. But anyway, we're taking off sort of the top rectangular prism, and then we're going to put down a cube as the sleeves, and this is going to be Petra. Now, Petra does on her left arm to our right have one sleeve. It's a black sleeve or whatever, and then she does have these this fingerless glove, sort of half glove, where her thumb presumably is sticking out. And so with that, it looks like the letter L is going to work out quite good for her thumb right there. And then we're using headband, and that's going to be sort of for her vest or jacket-like thing on either side of her chest right there. And then, of course, a series of cubes, all painted different colors. That's for her legs. You can see, of course, the top one is not the darkest black, but it's like a step away from the darkest black, you could say, as well as her sleeve that's on her left arm to our right. And then, of course, a pimple depicting where her thumb or hole in the hand might be and stuff. And then minus signs that are painted a little bit gray are going to be for these little parts on her shoes, I guess. Her shoes have like either these straps or buckles or whatever. And so here's Petra's head, and this is a little bit complex just for the top. It's again, looking down on the character almost. We had to fill it up with the letter I with that checkerboard pattern. And then for the bandana on her head, of course, also a headband is over there on our right side. And then it looks like you could probably use either a headband or a letter I for the one on the left side as well, but those do not have the checkered colored patterns on them. And of course, just squares for the little tie off where the bandana ties off in the back. And I'm actually noticing here, we're going to need to move the tie to the other side because in Minecraft story mode in the game, they actually, they have it like this where the tie is on, I guess it would be her left side to our right. But in some of the promotional images, she actually has it on the other side. And so it is in two different spots, I guess, if you're looking at both pieces of material for inspiration. But here we go. One of my favorite characters that I've seen in the game is Axel, and Axel is just huge. So instead of using a rectangle for the body, we're instead going to be using just a square, a regular square, and then a dumpling. As you can see, I'm typing right now. A dumpling is going to be for that bling, I guess, that he's got, the top of the bling, his necklace or whatever he's got. And so the dumpling is for the top part, and then just rectangles for the pieces leading down to a pill. P-I-L-L is what I used for the actual gold of the bling. Everything else is just shapes and things, of course, minus signs for his hands peeking out of his gloves. But then, the only thing that's really not a geometric shape other than what I've mentioned is down on his feet. That's a twig. A twig makes his sandals. The reason I liked that, having a twig there, was because the twig has the little branch offset coming off of it, and so that can be just one stamp that we can use for really things you could possibly have done two stamps for, but we just used one to save some space, and so it worked out great. So you can see all sorts of geometric shapes there to the left, our left, on Axel's head. We're going to paint those black in a second, but that's more just to display to you what kinds of shapes you can use, of course, to make his hair. The great thing about a character that has this pitch black hair is that you can use anything. Anything that makes that shape, you can use it. And you won't see the various lines and things because we painted it all black, and so the black will mask whatever, you have put there. So you can, in essence, just use any shape that will sort of get you the results that you want. Instead of using squares for Axel's eyes, we used minus signs. We just used 2 in each one and then made them vertical and painted them all black and fused them together. But now we're creating Olivia's body right here, and pill is going to be for these 3 little parts that are, I guess, going down her shirt, and going back to the rectangular prism arm, but then a cube shape for the hands. And down here at the feet, you can see that we're, I guess, creating her shoes. They're just a little thin layer of black. So for the purposes of this creation, I'm just using the letter I, and then we're using a minus sign for the smaller wraparound of her shoes. And again, everything else was pretty much just the letter I or geometric shapes, and that's again the letter I for the belt and the pieces that are right there underneath her chin. And so this is, it's a little bit strange for the Olivia head that if you put down the blush, I guess, underneath her eyes, then you're going to notice it does have since Scribblenauts is very, line shaped, it's got a lot of line shapes and stuff in it, and all the stamps pretty much have black lines around them. Sometimes sometimes thicker black lines, but we went with the rectangle because it's not as thick as the minus sign for that like blush cheek color underneath her eyes. The thing that I don't like about it, and I do like it, but the only thing I don't like is it sort of makes it look like her cheeks are pressed up against her eyes. You know, like if you were to just with your face right now, push your cheeks up a little bit, you know, your eyes would squint some. And that's sort of the feel that I feel like it's giving Olivia right now. So you can, of course, feel free to take those off, but I didn't want to be accused of not including something on the face. So for all intents and purposes, I have added it. A chicken leg for the top of her hat and cloud for the hair. Everything else is geometric shapes or the letter I. And so moving on, we of course are going to create the last human that I haven't created yet, which is Lukas. And it's funny because Lukas is spelled that way. It's like Lukas, you know, it's got a K. But we've used a headband for his jacket, and then just rectangular prisms for the arms and legs. 3 of them for the legs, 2 of them for the arms, on either side, of course. So that would mean 6 and 4, respectively. And then it's just a series of minus signs for the stripes, the white stripes on his shirt. And so his head, of course, is looks mostly self-explanatory to you, hopefully, but it's geometric shapes for the hair, and then a minus sign is going to be for his nose, and the letter I for the mouth, like we've done on all these characters, and rectangles for the whites of the eyes with squares for the colored part of the eyes, minus signs this time for the eyebrows on Lukas. But everybody knows I love animals, well, hopefully you know that, and I would be definitely ashamed if I did not include the faithful pet pig, Reuben, and so here he is, Reuben. This is actually going off of my Minecraft piggy design. So if you please refer back to episode 62 where I created a skeleton, which I did give the bow to, you'll see that I also created some of the Minecraft animals. So that'll really teach you how I made the pig mostly, but since we're creating so many characters in this episode, I just had to breeze on by that and use that design as well, make a few edits to it, of course, because Reuben has his ears and his nose like that. Well, they're more distinguished, I guess, than the piggy was in regular Minecraft. But there is our order of the pig plus Lukas. It's pretty awesome. I am more pleased with how these came out compared to my Steve design, you know, but when I made Steve in Minecraft, I was completely, you know, new to the game, Scribblenauts, and to Minecraft, honestly. I did not know much about Minecraft either. But anyway, so back then, I did not even have a sliver of the knowledge that I have now in Scribblenauts, and so these characters are definitely much more like how I would want to create a Minecraft person. So if you ever wanted to update your Steve design, you know, if you ever watched my episode 5 where I created Steve and update it to something like this, you now have a basis to what you could use and what you could make it look like. But thank you so much for coming along here to view this video. There has been some great support. I appreciate anybody who is a supportive subscriber. You make Kendopolis run. Well, I guess I make it run, but you give me the fuel. So we'll say you have a pretty good influence over it. But I just wanted everybody to know, possibly an exclusive spoiler for the series, I am going to be remaking my Mega Man design because I've gotten so many requests for Mega Man over the course of a few months. And so with that, I knew that my Mega Man design back in episode 30 something or whatever it was in, long ago, I knew that I could improve on it. And again, talking about, you know, how I was very new to Scribblenauts back then and now have learned a lot more, I think it's a good idea. So please be expecting that. It's not going to be a Sunday upload, so it's going to be just sometime during the week. I'm probably going to target around Thursday or Friday for that, so potentially be looking out for it then. And remember that Dr. Kendo live streams every Monday. I know a lot of you have been enjoying the live streams, but whenever I go to Twitch, it seems like only a fraction of the viewership shows up to Twitch. So I really would like to migrate you guys over there. If you haven't followed it, it would be www.twitch.tv/drkendo. That's DRKENDO. But I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. Be the viewer and
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives at the space.